God. Alison, I'm here. I've got the multi-scale bass.
Look
what
at
are we
that
doing
thing.
here today? What am I bringing this here today for?
We're talking about DJENT, and if I hit the Wikipedias real
Gent.
quick.
Like gentlemen?
DJENT is a style characterized by progressive, rhythmic, and technical complexity accompanied by the use of polymetric groove. It typically features heavy distorted palm-muted guitars, syncopated riffs, polymeters alongside virtuosic soloing. Another common feature is the use of extended range guitars, 7, 8, 9 string, maybe even more. An example is the song CAFO by Animals as Leaders. Oh my God, dude.
He's been to the chop shop. Woo-hoo-hoo. So good.
It's outrageous. You've got Tosin, right, playing that thing up high, Javier playing the thing down low. And dude, I don't know if this is right, but I always thought that gent, the word, came from the sound that the guitars made when they played those low things. Like, imagine saying gent, gent, gent.
Dudes, if you want to hang out with, us fine gentlemen, then please consider subscribing to the channel down below. We're trying to hit 1.5 million subscribers by the end of the year, and we'd love for you to join us on this mission.
Yeah, like
it?
To me, well, I don't know, but that's always what I assumed. And then I hit the wiki and it said all that other fancy stuff. But in the comments, what does gent mean to you?
But dude, we are here today to feature some of the best gent players that ever did it, okay? That ever did it. And we are jumping in with one of my favorites, the amazing, the incredible, the gentleman of gentlemans, Mr. Nolly Getgood.
Just like a giant distorted piano.
It's insane, isn't it? Dingwall bass, obviously. Woo.
Oh. And just how relaxed his playing is.
Yeah. Dude, if anybody wants to check out the Nolly Getgood course in the SBL Academy, our membership, I will put a link down below. You can go check it out. 14 days completely free. I think it's like something like 6 hours of content with Nolly, and he talks around his tone and like breaks down his bass lines and all of those shenanigans. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to go check that out. He talks about that, like playing through the string.
Yes.
And he's like there's a definite, it's not just picking the note. It's not just having an angle. There's a percussiveness to that strike as well. All the way through the string, but with like this aggression. It's freaking badass.
And check it out. Like, of course, there's all this processing and distortion, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. But before you even go down that rabbit hole of like, oh, what pedals and what processing do I need to do? Just getting that thing with a pick, right? I remember Nolly talked about using a thin pick as well, because it kind of gives you some natural compression. And my bass isn't even on right now, okay? But getting that swing and dropping down to that next string, right? That sound with the pick, that's the thing you want to go for acoustically, that then when you turn on the instrument, have some processing.
Oh my God.
You have that big sound.
That sounds sick. That sounds sick. Listen, let's jump into the next clip because it's a goodie. Here we go. The great Jacob Umansky, also rocking a Dingwall.
Yeah.
Woo! Listen to that tone. Outrageous.
Oh,
and he just, can I get a round of applause in the comments there, please? That must have been the greatest pause of all time. Obviously, this is the great Jacob Umansky. He plays with a incredible band called Intervals. And as you can see, it's a freaking freak show in the greatest of ways. He's got the 6-string ding wall. He's got the fan frets. And he's got the tone. Where do you even want to start with this, Ian?
I would love to talk about some of the things he's doing. He can slap like Flea style, where he's playing like bouncing and pulling, the kind of like that kind of stuff.
Is it hard playing with this tone, like in terms of slapping? Is it kind of, because like, I'm just like, is it like, I just haven't done it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. There you go. I'm learning a new thing every day.
It definitely leans you into that like percussive thing though, right? Like, whether you're slapping and popping octaves or like playing through the string and like double thumbing, right?
And that's what Jacob does, isn't it? Like he actually
does
plays
both.
Like, he does a lot of
he does
double
both.
thumb. Yeah.
He does double thumbing, but he also does like the Flea sort of like bounce pop thing as well. I mean,
got it. Yeah.
The other thing that he's doing to get that sort of, that thing that we were talking about with Nolly, where Nolly has a pick and he's going through the string. Well, Umansky's doing it with his hands. So he's taking a finger and swinging through the string, which is a similar sound.
It sounds incredible. Let me talk about multi-scale basses for a minute, because you might have already seen that Nolly was playing a ding wall.
Yes.
Jacob's playing a ding wall. Somebody else in this video has actually just started playing a ding wall. It's like Sheldon
Really?
Dingwall's slow. He's in the sort of like the gent mafia. He's like scheming of how to get all of the gent bass players of the world playing his basses. Well done, Sheldon.
Yes.
Hats off to you. But yeah, this isn't a ding wall, but it is a multi-scale bass.
Yeah.
And this is a Strandberg bass. Shout out to the guys at Strandberg for sending it over. And what you will see in Gent is there is a lot of bass players playing multi-scale basses and multi-scale guitars for that matter. But with the multi-scale basses, it gives them the ability to tune down the lower strings. It's not something I've done on this bass. This has got a low B on it. I will play the low B for you. Woo. It's a low B, but the Strandbergs and the Dingwalls, they're really popular in this music because it gives you the ability to tune down those lower strings. Because it's strung over a longer scale length, the string keeps its tension, right? If you did that on a regular bass, the danger is that it just turns into a floppy mess. Yes, Alison. So you don't need a fan fret bass to do this music. Don't feel like you need to run out and get one. But what you will see is a lot of people using them because they can get those extra low notes because they can tune down low. Kind of Flea style, I guess, in terms of the positioning of his hand. This is the great Amos Williams, also another quintessential English gentleman.
It's never going to get old. I love it.
Different, right? Because he's on a 4-string here. So I know that Nolly was on a 4-string on that first clip that we played, but Nolly really plays a lot of 5 strings and 6 strings as well. But Amos is playing a Ibanez here, and it's not a fan fret. It's not a fan fret, but there is a big but. I've been doing my research. I've been, stalking and lurking around the YouTubes over the last week preparing for this video, and I've seen some videos of Mr. Amos here playing a dingwall.
Oh my
Sheldon,
God.
the gent mafia, the gent godfather. He's just got a different kind of approach and feel than Nolly and Jacob. Like Nolly and Jacob are just sort of like, it's like a freaking machine gun. It's almost like sequenced, right? Whereas Amos has got like a lot more rubberiness about the groove. It seems like it's in his tone, it's in the way he plays. There's more sort of like flexibility in there. I would say more of a traditional, like even though he's obviously not playing traditional bass, but there's less kind of like that sort of like straight sequencer sounding vibe to it.
Right. And it's not like super multi-band processed with, fuzz and distortion and tons of compression and on the high end and the low end clean and like where Nolly and Jacob are processing their bass in a way that makes it just sound almost like this guttural guitar bass instrument together, like a mountain of sound.
Yes, it's crazy. I listened to Nolly and Jacob and I'm like, I love their sound on that music, but I'm not sure you could take that and use it in anything else. Whereas
what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I got sunshine on a cloudy day, Divine.
Well, other than that too, right? but when I listen to Amos, it's more there's more of a traditional sort of like vibe to it, but his playing is impeccable, and also he's like less technical. Even though he is very technical, it doesn't seem sort of like a million miles away. When I watch Nolly and Jacob, it's so technical, whereas like Amos it's beautifully executed, but it's not alien-like, if that makes sense.
I do know what you mean. Yes. Yeah. And another thing that's interesting to me is we have these two extremes in tone, right? So we heard Amos play this kind of clean, more organic thing. And then, of course, we have this mechanical insanity from Nolly and Jacob. And part of it is technique, but part of it is processing. And I'm wondering if we can talk about that a little bit, what you're doing to your bass over there, UK side. Let me know what you've got going on that bass.
I've got a dark glass, actually. Alpha Omicron. It's like, it's getting me somewhere in the ballpark,
I think it sounds great.
Yeah, and interestingly, Nolly, obviously he uses dark glass. Jacob, dark glass. Amos, also dark glass.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I've just realized something.
What?
Dingwall and dark glass. Yes. Anyhow, but I'm using dark glass. What are you using on your side?
So I'm not using dark glass per se. I have a sound in the HX Stomp. So I'm using the dark glass model in the HX Stomp, but then I'm using it into an Ampeg rig. So, the sound I have going on. Let's get down to D, huh?
Hey, dude, get yourself a multi-scale.
And the cool thing about that vibe is that it is so forgiving in terms of how hard you hit. You cannot hit it hard enough to make it like clip or sound terrible. Like the harder you hit it,
this sounds better.
Amazing. Yeah, right. And then, but check it out. If I get rid of the amp sim, right? If I get rid of the cabinet, it's cool, but it's really like bright, right? And if I get rid of the amp, it sounds a little bit like a clean bass with some fuzz on it. But immediately when you drop that amp, sim, and cab on, you just want to smash the bass. It's a blast.
It sounds incredible. Just a quick note as well. If anybody's going to try and get that sound like we've heard from Nolly and Jacob, that super intense, sequence, that thing, you need new strings.
Yes.
Yeah. Whip off the flat wounds, dudes. Whip off those flat wounds.
You really do. Yeah, like bright strings are so critical. Yeah, if you try, because you need to feed the gain a bunch of high-end information, right? Like even if you turn the tone knob off, let's try that. If I turn the tone knob off, right? It's not the same versus tone knob all the way up. Like you need to have that brightness feeding into the dirt to make it give you that like satisfying response,
Yeah, I love the sound of you playing with the pick, by the way. I freaking love it.
Thanks, buddy.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And this next guy we're about to check out as well, he plays with the pick too, but like nobody I've ever seen.
Yeah, man.
Check it out, dude.
Clay.
Yeah.
Woo. Hey.
Like what? Hang on. We're going back. If anybody was like, what just happened? What just happened? There was a ripple of something in the force.
Oh my God.
Let's just check that out again. It's obscene. Okay, here we go. Woo.
Jeez.
What?
Clay Gober.
Yeah.
Come on and giving me that face at the end with that stash, dude. Looking so cool. Look at that face.
To know what he's
Come
thinking,
on.
he's like, go on, figure this shit out. He's going, how dare you? How dare you?
Man, look, I know we're going to talk about this hybrid picking thing that he's doing, but I have to say the combination of levity and ferocity is alive in Clay Gober. You know what I'm saying? Like he's funny. At the end, he always like pulls a ridiculous face in the videos as if to be like, I don't know. I'm just kind of doing this stuff, whatever. But the amount of time this man has put in to this technique is crazy. It's crazy.
It is. And in this clip, you can see it a little bit better. So let's jump in and then we'll try and break it down. We'll do something. Stick around. We'll see where we go. Oh my God.
Dude, I'm just like this, just like looking at the screen.
It's exactly like, well, I'm like stuttering. But, he's doing this upstroke thing. He's got it's like more upstroke than downstroke. It's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's dropping a hand, right? So to me, this thing is called hybrid picking, where like you're dropping a hand down. So sometimes what he's doing is like drop, and that's a sound, right? Just the percussion of the drop. And then he'll play up with a pick and then a pluck. Or sometimes two plucks, right? And right now my sound is like too dirty. He kind of has a cleaner sound to get some of this percussion going. But right, it's like drop, up, pluck, pluck. That's something that you could try.
What is it?
I can't do it fast.
What is it?
Like try like drop, up, pluck, pluck. Yes.
God, sound awful. It's that. Like it.
Yes.
But I just can't do it with a pick.
Yeah, it's wild. But it's really cool because he's sort of substituting the thumb for a pick.
Yeah.
Right? So he's doing this kind of thing. Like you were playing, that.
Yeah.
But with a pick as the thumb. And I can't do it. And it pisses me off, Divine.
Me too, man. Me too.
Woo! Oh my.
It's so good, isn't it?
Wow.
What a vibe.
What is that sound? It was like a
crazy, isn't it?
In another life, Divine, you were a gentleman.
Damn right, dude. Here we go.
You love a bass solo, Scott Divine.
I have been known to love a bass solo.
Oh, yeah.
Massive tone as well.
Simon Grove, right? With Pliny. Is that correct?
Yep. Simon Grove. cleany, and he's playing a LaFay.
Oh yeah, sure.
Cool sounding bass, and it's not a multi-scale either. I've been, obviously, as I mentioned before, I did my research for this. He did play a Strandberg at one point. He was playing the LaFay. He then played the Strandberg, and it looks like he's gone back to the LaFay, but it sounds great. And again, he's got a different approach to, I would say, Nolly and Jacob. Less kind of that crazy sequence thing. I love his playing. I think he's great.
Oh man, he sounds awesome. Cool lyrical solo on that as well.
Yeah,
that's great. So all of these new players and sounds and techniques, it's almost as if it's ushered in a new millennium. Woo! This polyrhythmic thing, odd time signature, and then my favorite part, halftime 4/4 on the drums. Woo!
Oh my God. Outrageous. And look at his face. That's what, as I was playing that's what I was feeling like inside.